Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Show. I'm just having a little clear out of my bench here, and that's because I've got an actual thing I've been doing this morning, and I've been doing this. Now, you may have seen something similar in a Patreon snap or tweet a little while ago, and that's because I gave the internet's own, YouTube's own Julian Illett one of these boxes. Although I have to admit, Julian, if you're watching, I've upped the ante in these later boxes. And the idea is these are a sort of blind box that I'm going to sell on my website. However, if you're a patron, you can get them at significant discount. And I have to admit, they don't really earn me anything. In fact, they probably cost me, but I just want to get into everybody's hands the same things I'm up to right at any one moment, so we can all, join together and work on some amazing projects together, so we all have the same essential bits. So I thought we'll have just a quick look in these boxes, because I've got a few here scattered around, but they've pretty much got the same content. I want to be fair to everybody. So I thought we'll open one and have a look. So you can see my stamped logo. So you'll see the seal of approval on some of these boxes. Actually, you'll see on all of them. And at first glance, doesn't look like much, does it? In fact, as I was preparing these boxes, someone had already bought one. And as they were the first purchase of the box, I even gave them something slightly different. But I'll be augmenting something to these boxes perhaps again. So let's have a look at what's inside these. So this is a teardown of a blind box. So I'm not sure now when I'm going to post this. I might post it right away, or I should maybe post it after a while so you don't spoil the surprise. I don't know. So the first thing you will get in your box, of course, is a baby boomer, and that's the amplifier you've seen me playing with, and they are jolly good fun. If you manage to use them as an op amp like I have, you might even get the heatsink to get nice and hot, but it's handling it, it's fine, it can sink the power. They're obviously rated for 5 volts, but I'm going to be a bit cheeky and tell you they go a lot higher. I won't advise you do it though, I'll know if you blow one up. So you get your baby boomer, and you also get a nice cable to hook that up to your hi-fi or phone or whatever. So that's just a little bit of wiring for you. You can check out the video for that. And I've gone the extra mile and dusted off my really crusty laser printer, which doesn't print very well, but look, you've even got printed instructions for the baby boomer that you can barely make out. Good luck with that. Start squinting. But to be fair, all of the information on these is actually online in a PDF. Nice full colour PDF, so you'll be okay with that. So we'll put that over there. What else have you got? You've got a Booby board, and I've just freshly programmed up a Booby board. So if you go online and have a look here, and it says https://backoffisshow.com/s/boobyboard manual v1.pdf, or go via the shop page and you'll find that link directly. You will get the manual for the Booby board, and if you actually go into the Booby board's menu after you've set this up by plugging it in using this USB wire into your PC, because you can talk directly to the Booby board using a terminal program. In the manual I use Putty, but I think Realterm is pretty good. So have a look at SourceForge Realterm, REALTERM. I quite like that. You have to fiddle with some of the settings so the page height is right, but that works pretty good too. Pretty good too for all your sort of embedded system things. So inside the Booby board bag, I've got you a few little bits, not as many. It's hard to know what bits you might need, so there's not that many, frankly, but enough to get you going, just to get you understanding how it works. If you so wish, you can solder on this DC jack, and that's sort of for future use when you use the Booby board without the USB. But to be fair, with its standard firmware, you're probably not going to need that unless you want to start using something which is requiring more current than your USB port can handle on your PC. So if you're doing any serious projects with lighting lots of LEDs and things, you can solder that on and get some additional juice going in. And you'll see here you've got V in, ground and 5 volts. There's a 5 volt regulator, so it can take the power and actually regulate that down nicely. And there's even a solder jumper so you can make sure there's no current coming from the USB at all if you want. But we won't worry about that. That's way complicated. You don't need to know about that. So in addition though, you can see I've got a tack switch. I can't remember the pin outs of the tack switch. So it's quite feasible though to put the tack switch potentially between 5 volts and RA3, something like that. Yeah, so that you can actually push the tack switch and you'll be able to measure that on your PC, that you can see, yes, I can do input. And you've got a resistor here and an LED, so you can hook up an LED to the pin. I suggest mounting it on an output, sorry, as an input pin, so it's grounding current, sinking current rather than sourcing it. And then you could put power from the 5 volts via a resistor, like so, to an appropriate pin. And then you'll make that LED come on and off from your PC. And I know it's pretty basic, but those are the basic building blocks you need for then any control from your PC. And once you get good at that, you can put a header on here, solder this onto a bit of Variboard or some breadboard, and do loads of projects. First, you can do them controlling them from your PC and writing PC control software. I think I did in the past a Twitter notifier. So every time I got a tweet, it would flash a light or make a flag move or something. But you can do that. And then you can just go to sort of full-on projects which have the firmware programmed on here. You know, your own custom firmware, and you can use these pin headers here. And you can buy a hooky pin, a Pit Kit 3, and learn how to code. You know, for about 10 quid. So if you really want to get serious with microcontrollers, do that, and I'll probably help you with that. I'm doing a few videos on it at the moment. You've seen them. Now, here's some additional items. These are kind of, I want to call them challenge items, really, or just fun stuff. So here's they're just random things. So here's a random spring carabiner. I don't know what you want to use that for. Just to wear your booby board around your neck because you're a cool guy. A USB connector. This is a PCB mount connector, but I use these quite a lot actually for when I do projects with power banks. Sometimes I want to hook up a booby board to a power bank, and what I'll do is I'll solder straight from the power leads on the USB thing here, and I'll sort of solder them onto the V in and ground right here, or the 5 volt and ground if it's sort of a proper regulated USB. You know it's going to be 5 volts, you don't have to worry too much. So that's kind of a handy item. Now, there's a slight difference in some of these boxes, so I'm going to show you two differences. This is well, I'll tell you the common thing first. The common thing first is that you'll have this rather gorgeous, rather fetching LCD display. Now you can't see it. One of you is going to get one without the blue. Now you'll know which one it was, the one in the video. But look at that, isn't that gorgeous? So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-digit 7-segment displays, plus this area here, which is sort of these, I think these glow like red, orange, green or something like that. 3 LED areas there, and I believe this is some sort of automotive type unit, or a unit that might have been in a motorbike or a tractor or a quad, something like that. It's definitely got that sort of feel to it, or maybe a timing system or a stopwatch. So this is a challenge piece. So the challenge is, if you buy one of these boxes and you're really keen, the challenge is do something with this, like get the booby board to drive some or all of these LEDs and make them do something interesting. I would like to see that. I think we'd all be interested to see if you managed to do that. So that's your challenge item number 1. And then there's additional challenge items. Now this one's a bit of a challenge because it's undocumented, so you're going to have to search on the internet to see what these bad boys are. But these are, I'm just going to read them, the NRF-M24LD1. These are NRF radio modules, and you can see this one there's a bit of solder on here because I must have tried something with this, but I would guarantee you they are working. And these are probably either low energy Bluetooth or they're 2.4 gigahertz serial connectors, serial connection, wireless connection. So you should be able to, in theory, let's say in theory, actually get a booby board to drive these, so you can send communications to the booby board and get them to send that communication via the wireless link out on this. And technically you could pick it up then on another booby board wireless link on the other end. So that does mean you need 2 booby boards. So you're going to say to me, Andrew, you muppet, you only think of this one. Well, what I would suggest is it might be possible to put the TX of this on one pin of the booby board and the RX of this one on another pin of the Booby board, so you can at least do a local communication. So it's on the Booby board where my fingers are, and it's coming out and then in again, and you're reading that, you know, the closed loop. Because once your code is doing that, there's nothing stopping you then having that second Booby board at a later date and then having a wireless comms between them, which would be really cool. Because if you get your second Booby board, for example, and you program your own firmware, you can make it sort of operate a relay or do remote sensing or something, and then just use these as a low energy communication system. So that could be fun if you're into your IoT type thing. So there's your little IoT type project. Now I'm just going to have a look, because we've got a lot of these. We had a few more. Say they already started to sort of get sold before I managed to get the video out. Now some of the other ones have a different thing in the challenge. So those of you with the different challenge thing, you've got a SimCom SIM 900D module, and some of them will be used potentially like this, but I guarantee you they are working. They are working modules. They've just been removed. I've removed them from prototypes things as I've been working on them. And what this is a GSM chipset. So what you can do with this is self-contained system on chip. We've got an RX-TX, and there's a few little gotchas on it in terms of you have to power it up like by holding a button down, so you have to wire a button and things like that, or get your Booby board to activate it. And what you have here is the ability then to hook up a SIM to this. You can either solder straight onto the SIM or use a SIM holder. And this is basically a self-contained mobile phone chipset, so you can send text messages and send data and make calls and receive calls. You can hook up speakers and mics and all sorts of these. So that is a whole self-contained mobile phone transceiver. So that's really good fun. I mean, that's kind of maybe a little bit next level for some of you, but I think a lot of you out there are pretty competent with that. If anything though, it's a nice thing to look at, and you could dismantle it and have a look, but they generally do cost quite a bit of money, so they are worth really investigating. But if you're really not concerned with all the whole mobile phoneness of it all, what you can do though for fun is just hook up to it with the serial line and try to talk to it over serial. Basically, you can either do it via the microcontroller on the Booby board, or take the microcontroller out of circuit and then use the FTDI 232 USB to serial transceiver on the Booby board to actually talk to this chip and read, you know, send it commands. You can get the data sheet of it online. But these are the challenge bits. I can't really support you too much with those because that's the challenge. So I hope that's of some interest to you. If you would like a box, a Backoffice box, please go to backofficeshow.com/shop. There. If you're a patron on Patreon, please have a look at the post I've made about them on there, because patrons receive a significant discount on these, and probably will in the future promotion get a discount actually on anything in the back of this shop. But at the moment they're getting a significant discount on Backoffice boxes. So if you do get hold of them, I think it's great if you do. Please have a go at the project in the box. Like, share, subscribe, and more importantly, interact with me on these boxes, because we all have the same bits, and if we all get together we can make some amazing things together at the same time. What? As ever, thanks for watching.